Hello, once again. Welcome in, Retriever fans, to another edition of the UMBC Baseball Weekly Report. Head coach Liam Bowen recapping the week that was, looking ahead to the week that will be for UMBC baseball. Coach, welcome in.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
So the Retrievers coming off a 1-2 weekend against Stony Brook this past weekend, the final home series of the 2021 regular season. One game won 8-7 before falling in game two, and a rain shortened game three. So, Coach, just a quick recap of the weekend.
Sure. First thing is, it was great to send our seniors off with a nice ceremony on Sunday before that third game. It's a group that sacrificed a lot to make this season happen, and we're certainly, everybody in the program is really appreciative of that. I mean, around college baseball, not everybody had as full a season as us. We only lost a couple games, and none were on our end from a COVID compliance standpoint. So I think that deserves some recognition. That takes your seniors buying in, and I thought they did a great job with that and deserved to be sent off in the right way. I wish we could have played longer on Sunday. Obviously, looking back on the series, if you're only going to play 2.5 games, you maybe you manage it differently. But I thought we did a nice job in game one. I thought being able to go out and beat a good arm and swing the bats well, I thought that was good. And obviously, we kind of had to hang on for dear life a little bit at the end. Again, probably if you know that you don't have so many games to fill after that one, you can probably use your bullpen a little bit earlier. Certainly would have. But in the end, like I told the team afterwards, there's no such thing as an ugly win. You either win or you don't, and we won that one, so we were pleased with that. Game two, I thought, was a little bit tighter than the final scoreline. It got away from us at the end. Again, not wanting to necessarily chase a game from a bullpen standpoint, which ended up stretching it out. But I thought Keegan Leffler pitched okay, pitching a little bit of tough luck, gave us 6 innings, gave us some length, which is really important in these 4-game series. And honestly, I thought we swung the bat okay against a good arm. They made a couple plays, a few hard hit balls, found mitts. And it was a little bit of the same thing in game three. It felt like, we were swinging okay against the best pitching staff in the league. Just didn't have a ton to show for it, and leaked a couple runs on our end. So, overall, like I wouldn't say we're necessarily pleased with it. And obviously, we know where we need to get better. But again, I think I've said it a lot on these things. Like it's a young team. It's a little bit of a banged up team. We're missing some guys that were going to be in key roles for us. And I was happy overall with the way the guys competed. And I think it's going to give us a good platform going forward with some of these young players.
Yeah, and we've talked about it all season long, how it's a young team and the growth that you wanted to see this season. This weekend, it never really seemed like those 2 losses, except for the end of game two, where it kind of got away from you, that you were even out of the game. It seemed like you were playing well the entire time. Does that speak to the growth that you've seen? And just talk about the growth as you head into this final weekend of the regular season that you've seen from this team.
Certainly. So, particularly if our first practice every year is usually the day after Labor Day. And if you go from the day after Labor Day to now and track some of these guys, we're really pleased with it. I think we have a lot of individual pieces that are going to be really good for us in the years to come. I think there's plenty to be excited about as you look up and down the roster at some of those younger classes. I think it's going to be a matter of continuing to raise our standards and learning how to win in the league. That's the piece that we're missing a little bit. I thought our response to adversity over the course of the season wasn't always great, which is something you got to coach young teams through. I think when we lost that series up at Stony Brook, where we played so many close games, it rattled us for a while. We didn't quite get back on track as quickly as we would want to, as quickly as contending teams do or championship teams do. But that's part of college sports. Like, it's very, very rare that you have a team that doesn't have to struggle before they succeed. And we've had some promising moments this year that, like you're talking about, and we've had our struggles this year that are going to fortify us for the future. So all in all, I'm super pleased with the direction. I'm pleased with the effort. I think there's a lot that you can credit these guys for. We're not deluding ourselves either, though. Our record is our record, and we need to improve and continue to raise our standards to contend for championships and win championships in the conference. which is obviously our intention. So it's just going to be a matter of continuing to develop these guys, stacking good recruiting classes on top of good recruiting classes, which I believe strongly that we're doing, and yeah, just staying the course, keeping our attention on the process and not getting distracted.
And I know we've talked about it, but there are some similarities that you mentioned from the 2014 season when you were here as an assistant coach. Had kind of a down year, younger team, had some injuries in that season. And then 2015 had a 30-win season, competing for American East Championship, got to the title game. And then that kind of really brought along a string of success. Do you see some similarities between that 2014 team that really is kind of going through the same things that you're going through now as it got to 2015 where it started to turn around and you started to see that success?
Absolutely. Now that doesn't mean it's going to happen on its own. We need to make it happen. But yeah, I mean, having gone through this before, sometimes I tell our assistants like, "Hey, guys, let me be your experience here because we're all frustrated. We all want, we're all super competitive and want to win, the games this Friday and the games last Saturday, and that's that as coaches in season, that's where your attention is. But in those, occasional moments where we can zoom out and look at the bigger picture, it once you develop to a certain point and you, like I said, you stack good players on top of good players and your culture is right, it can go pretty quickly. It's kind of like lighting a match and watching it burn. I mean, it's uh, your team can really take off on you in a positive way, and that's the situation that we're trying to create. There's a lot of work in the years, plural, not years, plural to that, to get you to that point. Like that's just that's how it goes. And you know, we did some things from a roster standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, where we've tried to speed up that process. And the reality is, this year has shown us it's going to have to be a little bit more organic. Like we're going to have to go a little bit more step by step. We're going to have to kind of build it up, like one brick at a time, and that's okay. That's okay. Like I'm here and committed to making UMBC a champion again. And I don't think I don't think many teams in college baseball have the luxury of skipping steps, even as much as we would like to sometimes. So I think this year's a step. We certainly the opportunity to compete in our league for as many games as we have has been super educational and super helpful. Really good developmentally, and yeah, we're excited to close the season the right way, at our standards, and then continue to push those standards in the years to come.
And then as we do get into this final week of the regular season, one guy who's going to be making his final appearance for the Retrievers, Christian Torres. I know we've talked about him a lot, and he's had a storied career. He has a chance to be the first Retriever to play in 200 career games, to be the all-time um, program leader in games played. He's also top 10 in at-bats. Just kind of talk about the way that he's helped this program from 2017, coming in as a freshman, winning Rookie of the Year, getting an American East title, and just helping to lay that foundation that, as this young team goes into the next few seasons.
Sure. I did not know that he's the first guy who might play in 200 games. So he better not pull his hamstring at practice today. We better get him through today's workout healthy. I didn't know we quite had all that on the line. You're more up on the record book than I am. I think Christian, number one, integral part of a great team in 2017. A team that didn't necessarily start off great, but was able to push through adversity and end the year champions. And I think, just I think all the things you alluded to in the record book, I think they're the truth about this guy. He showed up every day. He took care of himself. He stayed healthy. He was able to give us consistency, when we needed it. And honestly, the years that he's been in the program have been a little bit tumultuous for the program at times. Like I think that's fair to say. I think we didn't necessarily capitalize on the success we had 15 through 17 in the intervening years. And by the time I became the head coach after the 19 season, I knew we had a job on our hands, and that's what we're in the middle of. We're not at the beginning of. I think we've made progress, but we're in the middle of it right now, and we understand that. And through that, you've been able to kind of count on him as a little bit of a pivot point in our team, where it's like, okay, well, we can plug this guy in the corner infield, we can plug him in the middle of the lineup, and he's going to give you competitive production and a steady presence for all those years and all those games. So that it's hard to put a price on reliability in our sport. Like I tell our guys, if you can give me consistency or you can give me excellence, give me consistency, because we just play so many games in our sport. The sport's about just continuing to be consistent, and his status in our record book, I think, reflects that level of consistency, and we're certainly appreciative of that. Hopefully, send him out with some W's this weekend.
So that's a good segue into this weekend, the final weekend of the regular season up at NJIT. What are you looking for this team, these last four games, to get out of this weekend as you now go into the 2022 season?
Sure. To me, it's kind of the first weekend of the 2022 season. Like we're not going to, when you talk about, 2014 to 2015, like I don't see us, taking that next step without the momentum that we need from the end of this season. Like I just think that's super important. Like it's super important that it's personal to our players, that everybody who's on that bus, it's personal to them to uphold the standard of UMBC baseball. And if it's not, then we're going to have trouble regardless of our level of talent, regardless of our level of development. I'm pretty secure in the idea that the people that we're going to put on the bus are going to, play hard and dump the tank for our program and for each other. And that's our first step, in terms of getting into the 2022 season, where I think we do have a chance to be significantly better. I mean, I told our team yesterday in our meeting before practice that, once again, first practice day after Labor Day, typically here, an hour into the first practice the day after Labor Day, guys are going to notice that we're better. Guys are going to notice that we're more talented. Guys are going to notice that the returning players have developed, because we're talking about guys with good work ethics and a good plan to get better. The only way we're going to capitalize on that improvement is by raising and upholding our standards and doing a better job of that, growing in that area the way young teams that become good teams need to grow. So this weekend's our best chance at that for the next 3-4 months. So we're treating it like it's the World Series of standards. Even though there's not a playoff place or anything on the line, that can't matter. It doesn't matter to me. It's about, are we going to be able to push our level of play and what we expect from ourselves and each other? And can we get into the summer on the right level so that we can hit the ground running in 2022? Crazy important that we get a good performance in that area this weekend, regardless of score and situation and some of those things, because baseball's baseball. But that we are laser focused on, and can't wait to get up there and go for it.
All right, well, Coach, great stuff as always. Appreciate the time.
All right, go Dogs.
Go Dogs. So the Retrievers ending the 2021 regular season up at NJIT this weekend. It's a Friday and Saturday weekend series, both days starting at noon on Ameriquise TV. And as always, you can keep up to date with UMBC Baseball on UMBCRetrievers.com and the team's Twitter page at UMBC Baseball.